Previously in X-Men. Kitty Pryde and Wolverine completed their conflict with the Yakuza and a ninja master, while the majority of the X-Men have recently battled government agents, aliens, ancient sorceresses, and sorcerers. And with Storm depowered and the new student, Rachel Summers, hanging around, the team's stability is once again in a state of flux. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are a group of 7 comics. Welcome to episode 113 of our ongoing Tuesday night live stream read-through as we read Uncanny X-Men. Oh, pardon me. The Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 192 by writer Chris Claremont, artists John Romita Jr., Dan Green, and Steve Leiahola. Cover date of April 1985. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm good. I skipped a line in my preamble and missed that whole part that I like that says the X-Men comics that became classic. You see that tie in there. If they became classics, they actually called them Classic X-Men.
Yeah, isn't that so amazing?
You mean that they called them that, or that I wrote the? Anyway,
both. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at everything today.
You're fantastic.
Yeah, well, we had a pretty busy weekend in Toronto at Toronto Comic Con. So we are, I think probably hopefully recovered by now. That was 3 days of comics and friends and more comics and wonderful things, eating delicious food. And awesome. So now we're back for Tuesday night, and I'm just people are starting in the chat and on the eve of X-Men 97.
True. Okay, 2 things there. One, no, I'm not recovered from Comic-Con.
You're not recovered.
No, I pushed it and did not rest yesterday and had band practice, till 1 a.m. So I'm
1 a.m.
Yeah. Oh. Well, maybe till 12:30, but then I got home by 1.
You gotta drive and you gotta,
all that stuff. So I'm not recovered. I'm pushing it, and tomorrow maybe I will get a real day of rest. I doubt it, but anyway. And then on to 97, X-Men 97. Super excited. I'm way more excited about this than any 48-year-old should be, unless I had worked on the show, which I did not at all, of course. So I'm very excited. I think it's a great time for fans, and especially us X fans, right?
Yeah, and it was very much in full force at Toronto Comic Con. Not only was one of the guests was Larry Houston, who was a producer, I believe, or of the show, the X-Men series in the 90s, but also just plenty of X-related cosplay. You'll see a few on our Previous in X-Men Instagram feed over the next couple of days. Plenty of people talking about X-Men. Plenty of shirts, T-shirts, not even just cosplay, but just and not even just like classic X-Men t-shirts, like X-Men 97 T-shirts. There was they previewed the first episode, as part of like a fan piece. They interviewed the voice cast, both the returnee voice cast as well as some of the newer folks, as well as some of those who were not as part of the new show, but were part of the old show. Like it really was an X97 love-in at Toronto Comic-Con. So I think I'm feeling that vibe too. Like I'm feeling, ready. I think it's hyped me up more than, we were talking about it, getting ready for it. But this past weekend, there's the excitement was palpable. So let's.
It was. It would have been a really great time to have some some art done.
But I was like, tomatoes.
I needed an extra week. You know me. But luckily, there is another event coming of a different scale. We've been lucky to be included in Toying Around's first ever Toying Around Toy-Con, which will be April 7th in Thornhill, Ontario, at the Thornhill Community Center, which is like my home arena, my hometown of lovely Thornhill. And the connection here, of course, is Cal Dodd, the voice of Wolverine on both X-Men 97 and X-Men Animated Series. He's going to be there for the whole day, signing autographs and, taking selfies with people and all that kind of stuff. So it's super cool that both him and Paul Sen-Hung Lee will be there, who's a friend of Kevin Toying Around. So that'll be awesome to have like another event where we get to go to and sell some comics, hopefully, and some action figures, maybe
Yeah.
some prints. Maybe there'll be an X-Men fan print, maybe some Wolverine pieces from me as well. Because I gotta keep that Wolverine rivalry going. I jokingly posted or like commented on Kevin's Instagram post today that Cal Dodd has only voiced 85 or 87 episodes as Wolverine, whereas I voiced over 100,
Right.
which is ridiculous.
It's a Wolverine voice acting throwdown, and
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to meet Cal and Mr. Dodd and see if we can get anything for him connected to the show. I don't know what, maybe just a little introduction. I don't know, something we can share with everybody.
Even honestly, just to shake the man's hand
Yeah.
and just get that inspiration from him and his enthusiasm. Like, I love that he doesn't go in cosplay, but he goes wearing Wolverine themed clothing, color scheme wise. So he'll be like, he wears like a hoodie that has those kind of Wolverine colors. Some of it more overt than others. And I love that he just leans right into it. And he seemed like a really genuinely nice guy when in the interview with Kevin. And from everything, of course, Kevin says about him. And of course, he wouldn't speak ill of a person, of a professional, unless they were a giant jerk, which Cal is apparently not. So it's tons of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. And it'd be fun to see some action figures that we haven't seen before. Maybe we can get our hands on a couple missing pieces in our relative collections. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see
I'm looking forward to the whole thing. Comics, toys, voice actors.
It'll be a shorter day too. Like, it's only 11 to 4, so it's a nice happy Sunday on April the 7th. And Kevin will be celebrating his birthday, by the way. That's
good to know.
That is the weekend immediately after his birthday. So it's a nice one for Kevin. So we'll all be very happy to wish him well. So in the chat, Chuck Dotson, sup, ex-bros. Sup to you, Chuck. Merry X-Men 97 Eve, group of 7. Oh, for sure. We should be called group of 97 for just the next 10 weeks. Totally hyped for tomorrow. Get hyped. Yeah, we are for sure. Barry Mitchell, greetings, everyone. Hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well, Barry. Jason Lapidus, the voice of Wolverine for an entire generation. A generation in my own house. Just those two kids that,
some kids are going to discover this YouTube show and be like, that's my Wolverine. It'll be, right? That'll be.
But that's lovely. But of course, it's very apparent I'm just trying to imitate Cal, right? Like, it's such a fun one to do. And I love how his voice, has changed, and his performance will be much more nuanced this time around. As a show will probably be much more better production quality in this new series. They dropped a new trailer today, and it was like, oh, it's exactly what I want to see. I can't wait.
I did not see the new trailer. I will hunt down the new trailer. Okay.
My daughter, who's 13, is very excited. She's watched the entire 5 seasons of the original series more than once, and we're both big fans. And I love that she gets the idea that it's fun, but also not to be taken too seriously. So we laugh at the parts that are kind of ridiculous, and we really enjoy the meat that is there on those bones. So we're looking forward to. We're getting up early tomorrow before school to watch before she heads out.
So I'm still, as you know, I've been picking away at going through all the seasons because I never watched them all. And I'm on season 5, and I'm on episode 3 of 10.
It's hard.
And so but 1 and 2 feature Warlock.
Yeah.
So that's the connection to tonight's episode.
It's so perfectly planned.
It kind of is.
In that, yeah, that's sort of a good note there. In episode 1 and 2 of season 5, Warlock arrives apparently on Earth, as does their species, like his dad and
Life Mate is called.
His
life mate. Character, if it's her, is Life Mate.
Yeah, Life Mate. And
by the way, I'm just gonna throw it out there, everybody. Tonight, I'm celebrating 19 years of marriage by doing this show because I mistakenly called my wife Life Mate, and then she said, "Go to your YouTube show." So anyway, there you go.
Happy anniversary to you.
Don't call you.
Happy anniversary to you and Danielle.
Thank you.
May you have another wonderful, not just 19, but 190
thank you. I appreciate it.
Of happy matrimony.
And you know, because you were at that wedding, buddy.
I was at that wedding, and it was so much fun. As were the days leading up to it and the days after it.
Absolutely.
I tell the story, as regularly as I can. But the morning after your wedding, in the beautiful town of Stratford, Ontario, there is a breakfast place. There was a breakfast place. I don't think it's still there. And they had an option on the menu that was called the Paul Bunyan special.
Yeah.
Or the Paul Bunyan breakfast, and it came on a
cookie sheet.
Cookie sheet.
Tray, cookie sheet, yeah.
And it was everything on a breakfast menu. So pancakes and I did order it. And I got a little bit of help from a few people. Like I welcomed anyone to come pick at it, but it was really fun to order that.
The best part about that menu item, just as to continue, is there's the Paul Bunyan and there was the Paulette Bunyan, for the ladies, 2 less eggs. That's all. It wasn't half. It was, I thought that was pretty funny.
Too many years have passed, obviously 19, shy of a day since the day after your wedding. So I don't remember what was actually, whether it was 6 eggs, you know what I mean? 6 eggs, pancakes, waffles, bacon, sausage, and hash browns, and, just down the list of everything that could be on that. But it was delicious to have a little bit of everything. So good times. So you're getting some happy anniversaries in the chat there. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Chuck is also saying, of course, your Banshee. We don't want to spoil anything moving forward, but your Banshee is also the voice for a generation. And Scary Gary SG1 says, my first X-Men issue, love it. So this is a good one for Scary Gary. That's cool.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah. Home province of Newfoundland in those episodes.
Really? The Phalanx episodes? Are we talking about the Warlock ones?
Cool. I don't remember. That's awesome. I'm trying to remember what else happened in them. I know they go. Wow. There's that stuff with Quicksilver when they're trying to get away. Is that where Magneto's base is? Remember he has a base under the ice?
Yes.
I wonder if that was sort of a Newfoundland thing.
And it's a really, and I will say this, it's a really interesting team up because the Phalanx is absorbing most mutants and people. And then it's Beast, Mr. Sinister, Magneto. And I'm this is a cool team up. It's a neat, anyway, when you throw those dynamics together,
for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Can you see the drop off in animation, by the way, in those episodes? Yeah, they're the quality. It's a new studio doing them.
Oh yeah.
So the animation's not nearly as good as even the first 4 seasons. And Beast has that backpack, almost like the science kit backpack, the Ghostbusters proton pack, and the action figure, of course, came with that. There was one that had that, so it was kind of a fun thing. I did not catch that it was in Newfoundland, but I'm guessing that's where it was. And but I'm sure Dave was going to add more in the chat. You got a happy anniversary there from Chuck. Jason Lowe, to me, my ex-friends. It's good to see you on the weekend, Jason. We did not get to keep talking. I wanted to talk more about your collection of Super 7 Reaction G.I. Joes. We didn't get there, but we have lots to talk about when we have the chance. That was supposed to be Beast and Warlock go to my home province of Newfoundland. Not sure what happened there. Okay, cool. Neat. I got to watch that part again. Remember that first X-Men animated video in the late 80s straight to VHS? It was a big deal in comic book stores only. Yes, Pryde of the X-Men. And we have a full episode where we go through that scene by scene as we watched it. Did we do a live watch?
We did. We watched it and then commented on it. We didn't broadcast on the
commentary,
channel.
Of course.
Yeah. It's one of our most watched episodes.
It is. Pryde of the X-Men. That was a good one. I love that video, truthfully. Happy 19th for the Sanagans. There you go.
Thank you, Jason.
St. John's is like a little fishing village in it. Aw.
Plain to type.
Cute little St. John's. That's so cute.
Colorful.
Fishing village. Are you seeing something like that in real life, David? It's more than just a fishing village. I watch Hudson and Rex. I see it regularly, so I know
I
it's
thought
the
you were going to
real
say,
deal.
I've watched Republic of Doyle. I think I know St. John's. So you got some deep CBC cuts there for you, people.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to dive into this thing?
Yeah.
All right, before we do, let's
Sure.
just say for everyone who's here, thank you for being here, firstly. And we hope you stick around. We are going to be, next week, recapping and giving our take and listen to your take as well on X-Men 97 as part of the first portion of our episode. So we'll take the first little while, go through the first episode of X-Men 97, and then dive into the issue that we'll be reading, which next week will actually be Annual 8, and you'll see why in a moment. And then the week after that, it will be the X-Men Alpha Flight number 1, and the week after that, X-Men Alpha Flight number 2. We're in that spot now, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Ooh, David says, a friend of mine played a background prostitute in an episode of Republic of Doyle. Well, at least that's what the friend of yours said they were doing.
Yeah, come back here next week with your thoughts and your impressions of the first episode. We'll do that at the beginning. It'll be less wedding stories, more X-Men 97.
Yeah, that's true. And if, maybe there'll be such huge demand, Chris, we'll have to spin out into a second show where we watch it live and talk about it while it's on after,
Oh, that might be fun. Yeah.
It might be fun to do a watch through. We'll see. We'll see how the response is. All right. I need to include this issue in here. Oh, did you, by the way, take a look at the classic X-Men or X-Men classic version of the cover?
No.
I don't know if my computer will let me do that now.
What number of classic X-Men is it?
I'm going to say 96. I don't even know. Let me just see if I can pull that thing open for a second. I thought it was a really good cover.
You got it. It's 96. It's 96. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm just gonna fudge this a little bit, see if I can get this to go. Share screen. Yeah, my computer's given me a hard time lately about letting me share certain things. It's making me a little insane. It keeps telling me that I have to change some settings. It never lets me do it, but I can do it the other way. I can do it through the internet. X-Men Classic 96, and then I'll just open it up and we can look at it there. Which is not going to be nearly as cool, but it's all right. I think it's worth it.
It's interesting.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. I think it's a better cover. How Magus is awesome and and huge and on a tilt and everything is sort of askew. Mm-hmm. And I think the characters, I know it's a different drawing style. It's heavily influenced by Art Adams. But I just find them they're more animated and pencils are tighter. Colossus's armor looks awesome. I don't know. I think it's a really dramatic and fun cover. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely got more energy. I definitely feel more, as opposed to the original, that the X-Men are in, Magus's clutches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. All right.
And maybe I like that Colossus suit better than the one he's wearing. I don't know. Maybe it's the streaks of white and silver.
Agreed. All right, let's get back to this here. And I'm getting, look at this. Toaster says Bertuzzi scored a 3-2, and we're going on another PP.
Thanks, Toaster.
I know who that is.
Yeah, so do I.
You do?
Yeah, same avatar as before.
Okay.
Right?
But so, that's very exciting. Okay, that's really I think that's my kid.
It is.
Toaster. How he's sending me messages this way? That's too funny. That's great. Toy Rensu says, "Sup geeks? How you doing? Ready for some X-Men?" Okay. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this cover, but that's okay. Thumbs up from Toaster. How you doing, Toaster? What is with that name? I don't I have to start calling him that now. All right.
Yeah, it covers it.
I feel like JRJR is sort of, again, still in that early stage. And he doesn't hit full stride on like his power of how cool his covers can be. Team covers are hard, but he's not doing anything to help himself.
Yeah, agreed.
It's pretty boring. This was the Colossus costume, by the way. This is like its first main appearance.
Okay.
It was sort of hinted at over the last couple issues. If you go to that first page.
Yeah.
It's the first time it is in its full form, not just like in an iteration of it, but he wears this for a good little while. But when I first started picking up X-Men comics, this is what he was wearing, and I knew it was different than what he wore on the cartoon for the one episode he was on, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I knew it was different than what was in the house ads, but I still have a sweet spot for it just because it was from that time. But looking back, boy, oh boy, is it ever lackluster. Do you have any feelings about that costume?
Not many, actually. I really like his yellow, red, the classic.
The Dave Cockrum one.
Yeah, I really love that Colossus costume.
Hey, do you mind opening to go to the first page there?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. And you can really see it now when you go to that first page.
Yeah.
The costume in its full glory.
Yeah.
And actually it'll be when we get to the next, we'll see it in action. But it's a choice, to do that kind of side flap, that Star Trek II kind of look with the double-breasted zipper off to the side sort of thing.
It's like a strong.
Toy Rensu says you can wear whatever you want when no one can kick your ass. That's true. I often look at it not from the point of view of the character, but from the point of view of the creators. And designs that are really iconic seem to last, and other creators seem to come back to it or reference it in their future designs. And it seems that this one is just a blip on the radar. It doesn't make a huge lasting impression the way that the original Cockrum one does, and a couple others after that. But, here we go.
The
young man's name is Pyotr Nikolaevich Rasputin. But for obvious reasons, he is perhaps better known as Colossus. Stan Lee presents, right, we said before, Chris Claremont, John Romita Jr., and Dan Green. Special thanks to Steve Leiahola. And we get the usual team of Glynis Sween and Tom Orzechowski on colors and letters, respectively. And Ascenti editing, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Fun and Games, starring the Uncanny X-Men. I would have expected if it was called Fun and Games, it would star Arcade.
Right. I do like that, the way the title was displayed on that, by the way. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of fun. Okay.
Russian by birth, he is a mutant, able to transform his flesh and blood body into one of super strong, virtually invulnerable organic steel. His power makes him a mainstay of an outcast, possibly outlaw band of mutant superheroes, the Uncanny X-Men. At the moment, he's looking for a teammate, Nightcrawler. Like that is an awesome drawing, by the way.
Yeah, that looks great.
Like that thing he's lifting looks incredibly heavy, and all the weight and power, Romita is able to communicate through like just those super big thighs and the way he's got that thing lifted up over his head. It all reads beautifully.
Sure does.
As part of an impromptu game of hide and seek,
Yoo-hoo, Peter! If you plan to win, my friend, you'll have to do better than that. More importantly, you really must remember never to stand on the edge of cliffs. Perfect. I caught him as he turned, when he was completely off balance. Otherwise, considering his mass, I wouldn't have been able to budge him. Happy landings, my friend.
Before I narrate, I find it just crazy that he's like taking this huge concrete block out of a cliffside.
Right.
Like,
to
doesn't
look
that
for
just
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, like that is Nightcrawler under that?
Are you in the hole?
And if you are, would you move? I mean,
Yeah.
but wouldn't that lifting that block out like destabilize the landmass to some degree?
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
This is not Colossus at his smartest.
No, good point. With those words and a characteristic burst of fire and brimstone, the X-Men's current leader teleports himself to safety. Was that news to you, by the way? Did you know he was the leader?
So this is it's one issue ago.
Did he take the official role of leader?
Yes.
Or was it just symbolic?
No, Professor Xavier gave him field command. And he kept doubting himself.
I read that with you, yet I don't remember that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Leaving Colossus to plunge into the river below. I think we can guess that's the Hudson River.
I guess, yeah. Good thing Professor Xavier isn't here to see our performance. He'd probably replace us with his novice people, the new mutants. Short-handed as we are, we'll have to do better than this. Speak for yourself, Fuzzy. Rogue? And I think I'm doing just fine. Easy to catch a charming devil like me, my darling. Far harder to keep hold. Think, you poured it. So shake me off, if you can. Of course, the big problem is, with your eyes covered like this, it's awfully hard to see where you're going. Creep. Isn't this so much more fun, comrade, than working out in a plain old danger room? I don't know about you, but I'm having the time of my life. Brand new outfit, soaked. But in round 2, it'll be Elf's turn, right, Colossus? Nah. Pete, honey, we ain't got a prayer, unless you put your mind on business. I know, Rogue. I'm sorry. Kitty Pryde is due home from Japan tonight with Wolverine. You couldn't have gone with the Prof and Stone to meet her? How? It is because of me she left. I've hurt her enough. Better for now to stay away. I did not ask to fall in love with the alien healer Zazie. It happened. My feelings for Kitty changed. At least that is what I believed. Lately, I do not know, and the more I wonder, the more confused I become. Poor guy. I wish I could help Pete, but I'm afraid it's out of my league. The Carol Danvers side of my psyche knows about that kind of stuff. Maybe it can offer some advice? Speaking of Carol Rogue, among her powers was a precognitive seventh sense. Since you absorbed her abilities along with her memories, you should logically possess her talent as well.
Cool.
Wow.
There's a comment here from David I just want to add to the chat for a second.
Yeah, please do.
David Cutler says, I'm always theorizing what was in Claremont's plot and what the artist just did and Claremont responded to. Was JR thinking hide and seek when he drew Colossus ripping up the ground? Who knows? Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there's the weird part of it where he is, ripping up a giant hole in the ground on the edge of a cliff. And that was obviously put there for a reason, like it was plugging something structural. The other side of it is it does read really well for someone flipping through the comic that Colossus is a super strong brute. So that part of it I thought worked really well. Just like the cartooning of it, the making sense of why and the decision making of the characters, it doesn't make sense.
I just want to point out from a character development perspective, we talked about, Nightcrawler as team leader just over these issues. I really like this. I really like his leadership training style in these pages, like having some fun with it, getting out of the danger room, being out in the open air. And then really flexing his powers to take down, two incredibly strong mutants.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, we don't often we see a playful side of Nightcrawler. We see some, very maybe a stoic side of Nightcrawler. But one thing I think we really like, just because he's such a heart of that team, is when he flexes those powers, his abilities to incredible effect, like taking down Colossus, and then right after that, taking down Rogue.
Yeah. I also love the different approach he takes.
Yeah.
In terms of how they're going to behave. We've seen obviously how Storm has handled training. We've seen how Professor X does. We've seen how Cyclops does. We've seen how Wolverine does. Mm-hmm. And Nightcrawler's like, yeah, let's have some fun. Let's bond. I think it's sweet.
Yeah.
Barry adds, yeah, him being team leader was one of the pivotal moments for Nightcrawler's character, as it would lead to what would occur with him later. On another mutant team. Oh, we're not going to go there yet. But
we know what you're talking about, Barry.
But we'll get there step by step.
I doubt it, Kurt. In all these months, I've seen no sign of it. Now let's change the subject, okay? This isn't exactly the happiest chapter of my career. I ain't proud of what I did. Being reminded of it hurts. Still, such an ability would be useful in a fight. Didn't do Carol much good, Elf. Didn't warn her about me. You shouldn't brood, Rogue. That is long past. Not to me. Come on. No more sad face. Cheer up. Smile. Hey, no fair. Cut it out. You're tickling. And you're ticklish. I'll bash you, Buster. Stop. I mean it. Dog is cheap. Nightcrawler, no.
But he doesn't listen. Nor does he notice as her protests become more vehement until...
Cut it out!
Nightcrawler's intention was to goad Rogue to the point where her seventh sense, assuming it exists, engaged. In that, it seems, he was quite successful.
Nightcrawler, oh no, what have I done? You bozo. Serve you right if I let you splatter. I know you meant it well, but no way do I like it. Don't toy with me ever, mister, ever again. You're right. He'll survive. Fairest of maidens, your paladin owes you his life. Would that he could thank you with a kiss. You louse! Rogue! Not another word, or so help me. I'll rip you limb from misbegotten limb. I'm Vet. I hate Vet. And Doverish. I've never heard her so upset. She sounded like she was crying. What did I do, Peter? What did I say? Dunce. How could I, especially I, have been so stupid, so unfeeling? Remember what Storm told us? Rogue's power manifested itself when she was barely in her teens. She's never been kissed, probably never even been touched. All the things we take for granted, all the sensations and pleasures we share with others are totally alien to her. Possessing Carol's memories must be absolute torture, constantly reminding Rogue of things she could never experience firsthand. No wonder she was so angry. What was to me a harmless little jest must have seemed to her like an exercise in deliberate cruelty. And nothing I can say or do will make amends. She flew there, Kurt, toward that ruin mentioned. Should we follow? She'd best. Wait a while, my friend. I don't think I'd be too welcome. Eh? My God, the sky. It glows bright as day. Something's falling this way. Down, Peter!
This is like a bunch of pages of incredibly clear storytelling. He is so good at making sure we understand what's happening. Great pacing, great choices for which images to draw, which ones to leave out. And then the variety on the page, both these ones sing. You get mid shots, close-ups, far away, like all that variety, some open panels, like just classic, Marvel cartooning 101. And this to me is like his biggest saving grace as a creator, is that he just paces things out and makes them so clear to read. It's really a joy.
And a great to see this trio, right? This is something we have not necessarily seen before. Like they're trying to bond, which is great. Yeah. Everything it constantly comes back, and I appreciate it so much, is you know, in the earlier issues, you know, how long has Rogue been on the team? 20 issues? 25 issues? Maybe?
Yeah, she sort of, you know, becomes Wolverine's.
Right.
She really gets initiated in 171 and 172.
Okay. So you know, it's funny. I didn't miss Rogue when it was the original team before she showed up. I just, you know, didn't even think of her. I knew she was on the later version.
Sure.
I didn't even think about it. And now with her in this team makeup, yeah, I can't think of it without her.
Right.
Like it's amazing how, you know, like putting characters and add. I mean, you know, they're already at what 7 or whatever. They add an 8th. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they're shrinking. Anyway, just it's remarkable. I think, you know.
No, I think you're onto something. You know, each of these characters allows Claremont and the artist partners to express a different part of the narrative, and that feeling of being a mutant outcast, and the, you know, different superhero voices. And hers, I want to use the word indelible. I'm not sure if that's the right word to use or not, but her voice has it takes up a space that no one else's does, and it has left its mark on the brand of X-Men so profoundly that you kind of can't do X-Men without her for very long. And if you look at every version that comes after this, you know, she's not far away. She's either one of the main characters or she's quick to join. And just looking at, obviously, X-Men animated series, the movie franchise, as those two pieces. And, you know, when they started the first X-Men trilogy, they did not know that they were going to go back in time and do an iteration of the First Class. So that automatically excludes her from those movies, except for, of course, the scene she popped in on Days of Future Past at the end. But she's so important that they named the extended cut after her. It's known as the Rogue cut because it includes a little bit more with her. Yeah, it's great. Like she is absolutely a mainstay character for me, and I'm super happy that she's finally here.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Yeah. We get updates from Toaster. Yeah, it was 4-3 Philadelphia, and the Leafs lost. There you go. So Barry wants to add, he says, yeah, I don't mean to give away anything. Just wanted to put an asterisk next to that item because I totally forgot about Elf being a team leader. For sure. No, I never minded. I'm not, you don't have to get a backtrack. It's all good. We can always give those little hints as to what comes forward. I just love the idea that you, Chris, haven't read the next 5 years of X-Men comics. And although, again, I started issue 200, and I stay on pretty much until the end of Chris Claremont's time. There's so many fun things that happen. I just don't want to ruin your organic read through of that stuff. But anyway, the light is blinding, impossible to look at. The shockwave of the objects passing, hammering the two X-Men to the brink of unconsciousness. There's a final awesome flash, and then all is once more dark and still. To all appearances, it is as if nothing unusual has happened. Wow. Here's that choice to not fit it on the previous page. You know what I mean? The natural ending would be to like have it on the last page, but those pages look really good the way they were, so they sacrifice this transition page for it, which is totally fine. It works. Meanwhile, 150 miles down the Hudson River at New York City's Kennedy International Airport.
Be at home, bed, sleep. Miss, love, hate you. Creep got my job. Probably a lousy mutie. They're everywhere. Take it over. Ain't safe. What? Sorry, it's hard to read.
It says white-haired cutie.
Yeah. White-haired cutie. Hot stuff. What does it say? Rockstar?
Yeah.
Hot stuff rockstar. Somebody famous?
Is that reference to me, Professor? I fear so, Aurora. What are you writing? A transcript of random background thoughts around us. Notes for a course I'm teaching at Columbia University. So many mutants, and they're so cruel. I had not realized people's fear of us was this intense. Nor I. The recent controversy, or controversy, about Dazzler and her film has evidently catalyzed considerable dormant ill will. The mutant menace has suddenly become a prime target for television and tabloid exposés, and the view most often presented is so hostile, I fear they'll do lasting, possibly irreparable harm. More mutants are born every day, Aurora. What hope have they, or humanity, in a world where they're condemned outright as evil? No sign of Kitty or Logan. I wonder how much longer we'll have to wait. Their flight was delayed by bad weather, Professor. I would have helped if I could. Jason Jose says, I see Rocket Raccoon pre-Guardians. Yeah, man, that's the limited series drawn by Mike Mignola and written by
I was
Bill
just
Mantlo.
about to bring that forward. They re-released all 4 issues as one trade in advance of, I guess, Guardians 3 last May.
Yeah.
Reprinted. I picked it up, and yeah, I mean, if you love Mignola art, that's what it is. I highly recommend it. I mean, the characters, I mean, maybe not my favorite, but the art is up there. So
it's neat to see early Mignola too, right?
It is.
So that we're talking 1985, and he, in some people's point of view, doesn't even hit stride until he's well into Hellboy, which is into the 90s. So seeing again an artist on those formative steps into becoming the legend that he becomes, it's very cool to check out. And you and I are big fans of almost every iteration of Mignola. So I picked this one up too in May, and I flipped through it, but did not read it hardcore. Yeah, really, really neat to see some stuff like that. Can Professor X walk here? Yes. So Toyrensu, back about 30 issues ago, they went in an adventure in space against the Brood, and Professor X is actually right now in a clone of his own body. So his consciousness, or his brain, is in a cloned body, and that body does not have the injury that the previous body had. So he should be able to walk. It took him a long time to kind of get over the mental side of being able to walk. And we saw some scenes of him shooting hoops, and so he's mobile. He's fully able to locomote. It's good times. It was weird and kind of sudden. Like they weren't like planning a clone body for a long time. It just kind of happened in the gutter, like one panel to the next. Oh, by the way, we're just going to put him in a new clone body. It was pretty ridiculous, but that's Lilandra and the Shi'ar technology for you. Or was it actually not Lilandra's crew, but it was the Starjammers, right?
Starjammers. And yeah. What's the name of that robot?
Oh, come on.
The doctored medical droid, or medical mosquito, or whatever.
Sikorsky.
Sikorsky? Sikorsky.
Yeah. All right. Aurora's remark was made in jest, but it's merely a facade. However, she masks her true feelings. The loss of her elemental power still hurts. And making matters worse, her love for the man responsible, Forge, remains as strong and vital as her rage at him. If only there was something I could do. I am reputedly the most powerful telepath on the planet, yet in this instance I find myself utterly helpless. Aurora's fate, her future happiness, lie where I think she wants them, in her own hands. What's Ileana doing over there?
Cut it out, Pastor. Quit wiggling. The Prof doesn't know I brought you along. Let's keep it that way. I mean it, Lucky. Behave yourself or I'll take you home this instant. Give me a break. I'm bored too. It's not my fault the plane's late. Cool it with the smoke, Dragon, or we'll really get into trouble. But this can be a real pain. Peter should be here. I know it's a scary moment. It may be awkward, even painful, but it's got to be faced. Running away won't make things easier. That went Scottish. That Scottish Ileana came right out of there.
It's so good. That's a great panel, by the way.
Which one?
Oh, I like them both. Both of the ones in the middle tier.
Yeah, they are great. And do you notice the hat she's wearing?
Oh, of course. This is the second or third time there's a Buckaroo Banzai reference in X-Men comics.
Gonna try this again. If you keep you know what? I'll just read it. I'm just kidding. If he keeps acting like such a bozo, he and Kitty won't even be friends. There you go.
Are you, when you do this, are you doing like the Anya Taylor-Joy from New Mutants?
I'm not trying to.
Right, because that is like a fair kind of, I guess, approach to the character, right? That works. Yeah. No, but since you do so much Russian already, I figured it would be an easier one. Of course it's okay to slip. We love this. Jason here is on your side. Both Jasons, actually all three Jasons are on your side, man. I think we're all grateful that you try. And because I know I would mess it up. And every time I've done Ileana, I do her straight as well because my Russian, I go vampire so fast.
Right.
You going Scottish is like it's a joy. That was really good.
She's been hanging out on Weir Island a lot. It's just it's.
Well, think about it the other way, that when she was in that other dimension with Belasco, maybe Belasco is Scottish, so maybe, she took on.
Maybe it's like
right?
maybe in the other dimension, Russian is Scottish.
Yes, exactly. So I said, bored, hungry. Your mama's a mutie. Take that back, liar. Everywhere. I hate him. He ain't safe. The professor says I shouldn't eavesdrop. But it's in my second nature. In my time, that was how I survived. The more thoughts I hear, the more upset I get. The more upset I get, the less I'm able to maintain my side screens. I keep telling myself these are decent, ordinary people. They have nothing against me personally. They don't mean any harm. Except in my future, the America I remember, decent, ordinary people, let mutants be herded into concentration camps. Decent, ordinary people slaughtered everyone I ever knew and loved. The X-Men, Mom, Dad, Kate. She was the last. She's still Kitty here, a girl, barely 15. But in the future, when I knew her, she was twice my age, part surrogate mother, mostly best friend. Like the way he draws her here, by the way, like this is not the face like that John Byrne gave us back in in Days of Future Past, where she was just this like emaciated and like head shaved almost, like her hair had grown back in from just being shaved down. Like this has got a sense of style to it, and her eyelashes are long and all that kind of stuff. She looks way better now than she did in that issue for sure.
Totally.
Outside of my folks, I miss her the most. My reflection. Where's Professor Xavier? What happened to the airport? I'm dressed as a hound. No. I'm back in my own time.
Rachel? Snap out of it, girl. Pull yourself together.
I'm sorry, Kate. It's this outfit.
I understand, dear heart. They drugged and brainwashed you and forced you to use your side talent to hunt down mutants so they could kill them. Nothing I can say erased that horror. But what we do here today may prevent any more of our kind from sharing that fate.
Is this real? It's nothing I remember. Was my time shift into the past only a fantasy? Then my way of escaping a life too terrible to bear? No, it can't be. I won't let it. Oh, please, let this be a memory. I want to go home, Kate.
Pop it. There's no one left to do the job but us.
My heart's hammering fit to burst as Kate uses a cover identity provided by an old friend to get us through the gate. Identification.
Colonel Carol Danvers, Air Force, Intelligence.
We're well within the top secret cyber robotics complex before we're discovered.
Made it. The nerve center of Project Nimrod. Once the door seals, Rachel, telekinetically scramble the locks. They'll have to blast their way inside.
Then what? The slab's shielded against your phasing power. We're trapped.
I am, anyway. I knew that from the start. Rachel, my love, this is where we part company. Once I know you're safe, I'll be free to deal with Nimrod.
What are you talking about? I won't leave you.
Who said you had a choice? Dark Phoenix.
Months ago, I changed my psi powers to temporarily exchange Kate's psyche with that of her younger self, Kitty. She and I figured that a physical body might be able to travel through time as well, but I never dreamt I'd ever actually try. Now, with the words Dark Phoenix, I'm suddenly swept away by forces beyond my comprehension, my very being shattered and cast across infinity as I tap into power as primal as creation and so vast it beggars description, yet at the same time, strangely familiar. To find myself thrown into a world and into a past, much like my own, but cruelly different, because it's one where I don't seem to exist.
You okay?
And I know the voice, and, for a moment, wonder if I'm still in my dream state.
You look pretty rocky. I thought you were going to faint.
My eyes, though, tell me the truth. I'm all right. Thank you. I'll be fine. Kitty? I got my wish. It was a memory. I should have let it well alone. Kate must have secretly programmed me with a post-hypnotic command. If all else failed, I guess she wanted me as her ace in the hole, to save everything in the future by altering the past. Thanks a lot, lady. She must have scrambled my memories, too, so I believe the time slip was my own idea till I was ready to handle the truth. She wouldn't have done it unless she knew she had no hope of surviving. I guess that makes me her, and maybe the future's only hope. I feel so afraid, so alone. Oh, Kate, why didn't you let me stay? Welcome, Logan. We've missed you.
Did you see that flash up north? It lit up the whole sky. Hey, wait a minute. You? I know you.
Impossible. You can't. You were unconscious the whole time.
I remember. I was in the future. You protected me. You're Rachel.
So I just wanted to point out, by the way, that
Yeah, dude.
This whole Rachel coming back time slip storyline that is built upon what had happened in Days of Future Past, but this is about 10 issues or 15 issues or so ago, whatever it is, it still really hasn't made much sense to me. Like I'm still really fuzzy on like how this even happened.
Okay, I think that's partially because it's not been made clear.
Okay.
So just from the information we have here,
Right.
Rachel the telepath sent. We're talking about the Days of Future Past part or this part?
Well, I mean, she's from the Days of Future Past future?
Yes.
Right. But why does she get sent back to this time?
Well, we're learning now that Kate Pryde,
Yeah.
or Kate Rasputin, or Kate Pryde Rasputin, whatever she wants to be called, believes that there will be no other way to save the future without sending her back so that she can change the past. But she went to the wrong past. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She went to a past where she's not going to ever exist. She went to a different reality.
Right.
And no one knows why yet. Not even Chris Claremont.
Not even Chris Claremont. Yeah. Okay.
He's flying by the seat of his pants in a lot of ways.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while Kate Pryde was in Kitty's body.
Yes.
Kitty's mind was in Kate's body.
Okay.
So young Kitty can remember being in the future or a future.
Right.
Where she was with Rachel.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
But Rachel got sent back to a different past.
Yeah, she crossed realities. An alternate history. Where she was never going to be born.
Whatever, comic books, fine.
You know, I mean, right, Chris Claremont is still probably upset that they had to kill Jean Grey.
Right.
So he's found a way to bring back the power set with an updated version, you know?
Right.
It's the same idea. Like if you look at all the different Robins as actually being the same character, that every time, you know, generation goes by, there's a new echo of that concept of a kid sidekick. Well, you know, the first time this circus kid, second time it was actually a circus kid again, and they tweak it when they, you know, out post crisis, and they make him a street kid, and they tweak it again and make him like, oh no, he's a neighbor who's actually a really good detective. They tweak it again, they make it actually his birth son. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just this is another iteration of that Phoenix concept. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Claremont, we followed you for 104 episodes. We're not going to stop.
David says, I somehow can't imagine Ileana standing Buckaroo Banzai. Like, you mean like, is that what you mean standing? Like she could enjoy the movie. It's possible she just borrowed the hat. Jonathan McCowan says, hey guys, I got a new job a few months back. So this is the first time I've been able to watch live in a long time. Congrats on the new job and welcome back.
Welcome back.
Glad you could be here with us. Way before they gave alternate timelines designation numbers. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes. Makes me wonder, Barry Mitchell says, if all the short haircuts with the X-Ladies at this time was just to speed up the drawing of characters. Yes, definitely the Annie Lennox Sweet Dreams haircut. For sure. For sure. I think it's because also they might have just thought it was cool. You know what I mean? That I think it's interesting how it gets read now, like in 2024, looking back over the last 20 years or 30 years, how people have read these haircuts, and what they're, some of the coding that's being interpreted. But I think it's just that the artists were trying to make things look updated and 80s, and they're always about 5 years out of date anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
what a mess! Watch your step, Peter. From the angles of these trees, we're nearing the point of impact. Colossus! Yeah! Stay calm. Whoa! The ground's fused smooth as glass, almost a frictionless surface. I can hardly get a grip. If I'm not careful, I'll smash myself silly against his armored hide. Gangway, mein Freund! Phew, that was fun. Anybody for seconds?
Kurt, would not so big an explosion make a larger crater?
Good point. By rights, we and everything else for miles around should have been incinerated. No sign of the object either.
Perhaps they got up and walked away.
My thoughts exactly.
Kurt, what is that glittering in the moonlight?
Fantastisch! Unglaublich! Peter, come take a look. A tree composed entirely of circuitry elements. They're all like this.
It is staggered, just the same. Frozen in mid-leap.
It's facing away from the pit, as if trying to flee.
I have seen this effect before. There is an oak in the yard of our house, and one of my sister Iliana's limbo creatures as well. Both transformed by the alien new mutant warlock the night he arrived. It is how his kind consumes food. First, he turns living creatures into techno-organic beings like himself, then drains their life energy, making them statues like these. Remember what he told the professor, that he was fleeing from his father, a more powerful version of himself who had sworn to slay him. That's in New Mutants 21.
Oh, dear diary, I think I just discovered the limits to my invulnerability. I better find the guys. Colossus should be fine, but any force strong enough to bop Millie silly may have done Nightcrawler real harm. And golly gee, wouldn't that be nice?
Worry not, youngling, about your companions.
Who's that? Warlock?
You know my offspring. Splendid. Upon your transmutation, you will lead me to him.
So is it Magus or Magus? Ideas?
Magus is what I would think, considering there's no E after that G. Because the E in English is what softens the G, but a Magus is something, isn't it?
Magus? Don't touch Magus! All right.
That's only what he's called in the South. So since Rogue is from the South, you can call him Magus when she says it.
All right.
Magus! Can't let him touch me. I gotta get out of here. Ah, God. But nothing's happening. Does his power work the same as mine? Does he need to touch his victim's flesh to affect him? Sure looks like it. That's a big break for me. And here's one for him. A chimney? Where'd that come from? Oh, a few. Natty, you gotta do something about that brimstone stench every time you pour it. Liebchen, it is my trademark. What would people say? Thank you? Careful, fellas. That's Warlock's daddy. We know. Leave it to me.
So he drops a chimney on him?
Yeah, they dropped a chimney on him from above.
Nice.
And then teleport down. Yeah. So you can see, like, I think the way I'm going to read that is that the teleport down, that Peter puts himself into human form, so he's easier to carry.
Yeah. Cool.
That's a heck of a punch, by the way.
Yeah.
Thome. That seems to have taken the fight out of him. And from the way Warlock spoke, I expected a more formidable foe. Bonjour!
You should have heeded my son. Instead, you may precede and welcome him into the lathe of the Maker.
Cannot break free. His grip tightening, cannot stand much more. But if I lose consciousness, I shall revert to my human form. I'll be at Magus's mercy. What can I do? There's no way I can match Magus's strengths. Wait, a portion of him is still stuck as a rubble. I've never tried teleporting part of an object. I've no idea what that'll do to him or me. But I'm about to learn.
As awful as Magus felt when Rogue tore apart his arm, this is infinitely worse. Nightcrawler's ploy has the desired effect. Magus' captive is released.
Gotcha, big boy. Natty, I'm a live rogue. Beyond that, our bets are off. My only consolation is that Magus is hopefully in the same shape. Then I might be able to take him. If not one way, then the other for sure. What? Rogue? No, wait! He's alien. If you touch him, if you use your power, the process might not be reversible. My risk, elf. Ha! Missed me, slowpoke. Maybe Natty was right about a seventh sense. I kind of knew where and when and how Magus was going to make his move. It's not a conscious thing. It's more like instinct. I react automatically as fast as lightning. Whatever you are, you blessed little talent, don't fail me now. Magus glowed a lot more brightly the first time we tussled. He's been burning a lot of energy fighting us, and his injuries probably cost him too. You called it perfectly, Elf. Magus is hurting bad, and he's vulnerable. Poor boy, you don't look well at all. How's about I give you the kiss of life?
Rogue's mutant talent is to absorb temporarily the mind and abilities of whosoever she touches, thereby rendering that person comatose. In essence, she becomes them, and they, except in most basic physical senses, or most physical sense, cease to exist. Magus, unfortunately, is too powerful, and in his case, although the transferal is partially successful, it is Rogue, whose existence is in considerable doubt.
Rogue! That silly, stupid girl! What has she done? Thoughts, now, perceptions, wildly different. Fantastic. Through Magus, I have access to entire universe. Are you all right, Rogue? You've become like Vorlok. Systems analysis indicates self-conditioned transitory. You sound like a machine. Nightcrawler, the thing self is experiencing that self learned from Magus, it's beyond belief. Well, perhaps that'll better enable us to combat him, but in no way justifies what you did. I lead the X-Men. That means you do as I say. My friends, we have a problem. Huh? Oh.
Fools! You are nothing to me. I could tear your puny star in half with my bare hands. You fought well. Your courage amuses me. Your existence may therefore continue. Be warned, however, even my patience has limits. Deliver Warlock to me quickly, or your world will suffer the consequences. Later, after Nightcrawler summons reinforcements, if Magus is truly as awesome as he boasts, why threaten? Why not simply destroy us?
You think she's running a bluff, Aurora?
You are the team leader, Kurt. You tell me.
Leader? What a joke. I didn't even have sense enough to leave someone to keep watch on Magus while he caught you.
Ooh, pal? You were all pretty bashed up. Odds are we'd have returned to find another circuitry statue. A needless sacrifice, you made the right decision. You held your own against him. You came through alive, Elf. No mean feat.
I was lucky. This job should be yours, my friend.
No way. Being boss ain't my style. X-Men, alert! An intruder!
Freeze! Nobody move, or I'll shoot! Who are you people? What are you doing here?
We mean you no harm, officer. I'm mentally calming him, X-Men, and have altered his perception so that he sees our costumes as ordinary clothes. Further, upon our departure, he will completely forget our presence. He will forget our presence completely. Thought you swore off mucking with people's minds, Charlie.
This is private property, folks. No trespassing. You gotta go.
We quite understand. Professor, what of Magus? Neither my psi powers nor Wolverine's enhanced senses, nor our electronic scanners can detect any trace of him, Aurora. He's either out of range or has some means of cloaking himself. Continuing our search is an exercise in futility. We've no choice but to let him make the next move. Do you think this is Professor X still?
Yeah, maybe.
Upon our return to the mansion, Rogue, I want you to tell us everything you recall from your contact with Magus. Like Aurora, I wonder why he is being so circumspect. It may prove to be something we can turn to our advantage.
Heck of a night. Sky lights up. We get UFO calls up the wazoo. And to cap it all, the Robeson's place burns. Why'd I come up here anyway? I must have had a good reason, but I'd be blamed if I can think of it. Must be going senile. I could have sworn I left the cruiser at the foot of the drive. I don't want the sound of the engine to spook anyone in the house. Only the house was empty. Crazy. Hey, what's happening?
Stay away!
And that's like right out of the cartoon, by the way, right? There was how Warlock was part of the Jeep as like they drove away. That's fun.
Yep.
Truly, this orb is exceptional. Never have my sensors encountered such a confluence of major celestial forces and entities. And the inhabitants of this world are no less formidable. In their recent past, they have defeated Galactus. And this is like a transformation that's happening, like that guy. And tonight, the X-Men came very close to doing the same to me. I must therefore be circumspect in my approach to Warlock. To disguise myself, I will assume human form. He has allied himself with these mutants. Their strength and courage and intelligence have proven most impressive. I will not underestimate them again. You've chosen your companions well, my son, and in the process afforded me a most glorious hunt, a true test of skill and character, and of my right to rule. I am proud of you. But your efforts, although admirable, will be for naught. You will not escape again, and in the end, I shall triumph and you die. So, as we read him again, I may alter the way I read Magus, because there was like no indication in the dialogue as to like how he speaks. Whereas Warlock, there was all those sort of self words, like they kept getting like he speaks stunted and in a unique fashion, but Magus speaks like a regular character, so that was a little weird. Before we continue, there was a whole bunch of stuff here. We should just go back and see what we can include.
Sure.
Your Ungablich was nailed. You nailed it, says Barry Mitchell. Barry continues and says, for your super chat, or for your chat, if your chat had super chat, I tipped $20 for some sore throats med, just for the admirable accents and keeping them from running wild. Great job. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Barry.
Very kind of you. David Cutler says 7 cents. I know we technically have more than 5 in real life, balanced temperature, etc. But is Claremont's count off? I think
7 cents.
I think that he's probably counting the 6 cents as being that one that, is connected to I don't know, talking to ghosts and hearing voices and stuff, like that version of it, that classic ESP, where this seems to be more like a Jedi precog, like just subtle precog where you like that spidey sense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's how I'm reading it, David. I don't know about you, but you're right about that we actually, our sense of touch is on its own three different sets of nerves and systems in the body, which gives us 7 in total anyway in real life. But there you go. Southern Fried Robot. Yeah, your rogue robot voice was like phenomenal. Magus and Warlock, or the Borg. I forget who came first. So I wonder if one is influenced by the other. These guys come before the Borg. The Borg are in the late 80s, maybe around 88. Season 2 of Star Trek Next Generation. So this is quite a few years before that. But I imagine there are other sci-fi stories that touch upon those themes before Star Trek TNG, or this concept from Claremont and folk. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, intuition, maybe that 7th one, Barry says. Gotcha. Now, there's something weird that happens here.
Yeah.
It says Columbia University, New York City,
New York City.
Exactly. So some months have passed. And I got to tell you, Chris, between panel 3 and panel 4, in these some months, this is when Annual 8 happens, as well as the X-Men Alpha Flight 2-parter.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
Exactly. So we will do those 2 separate stories next week and the 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
And then we'll remind ourselves about this moment as we move forward after that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Merry Christmas, Professor. I loved your seminar, sir. You're a great teacher.
I appreciate the thought, Mary.
Oh, sorry. Mary had a really deep voice.
It's okay. So, hey, man, there's all sorts of things out there. It's all good.
It's all good.
I appreciate the thought, Mary, but your grade stays the same. Next term, study.
Yes, sir.
Richard, thank you for your card. Enjoy the holidays. I should have done this ages ago. I'd become too much the hermit in Westchester. I had no idea how much I needed this change of pace. I enjoy teaching the X-Men and New Mutants. Their lives are so hectic. The demands on me so different. I don't gain quite the same feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment I've been getting here these past months. Nor do I have to face the awful responsibility of sending these students off to risk or sacrifice their lives for a world that seems to hate them more and more.
Mutie lover.
I beg your pardon? 5 minds close at hand, but more lurk in the shadows. Some are drunk, all hostile, with a dangerously violent undertone to their thoughts. I recognize 2 of them, students from my seminar.
You heard me.
Let me pass, please. I want no trouble.
Tough. We don't want your kind at our school.
They mean to attack. I've no choice but to use my powers. A Psylocke. A Psylocke should paralyze their limbs, hold them long enough for me to reach my car. They're young. I pray they don't know what they're doing. I don't want to hurt them. I wish the parking lot were closer. There are so many that their thoughts so chaotic, hard to keep track. Did I spot them all? I have frozen. Ow!
I couldn't move. What'd he do to us? He must be one of them. The prof's a mutie. Waste him. The nerve of this scum. Scum belly pats himself as a real human being.
Hey, man, he won't be trying that again.
He got what he deserved.
Let's split, guys, before anyone sees us.
Don't know about you, but all this giving me thirst. How about we grab some brews?
By the way, if anyone is ever wondering, it says tough. We don't want your kind at our school. Remember, that school is Columbia University in New York City. Never forget about Columbia University. There you go.
Someone in the shadows, pick him up and drag him along the sidewalk.
A bloody Professor X.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. And then we see on the sidewalk
The ironic.
that Christmas card with some signatures on it. You probably can't read where you are, but the ones that I can pick out, there is Anna Senti on the far left. Barry Windsor Smith is in a little square, like a rectangle there. Paul Smith next to that. Elektra. Nancy. Mike Salati. James Hart.
Okay.
Can't really tell who the rest of them are. But anyway. Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Men. Yeah. Oh, that's Flo. So Flo was like the Stanley's assistant, like his secretary, you know? Yeah, that's great. There you go. Next, the 100th issue of the new X-Men, War Hunt 2. Right as we reach issue 193.
Yes.
You know, the first issue with the new X-Men in it, if we're going to call them that, is Giant Size number 1, and the next issue is X-Men 94. So that would mean that this would make it the 100th issue with this new team. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Congratulations, pal, on that. I mean, any person with a YouTube account, a microphone, and digital scans to comics can put on a show. But, you know, we 100 episodes. Congratulations.
No, it's not 100 episodes. It's 100 issues.
100 issues. Plus the other ones we've done the same.
We've already done more than 100 episodes. You should know that.
That's true.
You've been here for all of them, almost.
Almost all of them. Not all.
Yeah, all the ones that count. Let's put it that way. Boom. We've been lucky to have a couple of guests fill in for you when you've been away.
Of course.
So that's good. Group of 7, most secret tale. Throw that out there. Available now on our website at group7comics.ca. What else do you want to plug there, sir?
Did we talk about some upcoming appearances? Don't think we did. We are going to be, in 2 weeks' time?
April 7th.
Yep.
We'll be at the Toying Around Toy Con in lovely Thornhill, Ontario.
The day before that, though. Aren't we at Artsy Fartsy in Toronto?
No, sir. Artsy Fartsy, I believe, is the 21st. You get me upset here. I don't know my dates.
You are right.
I'm having to look now for that banner that I was making with all the dates on it. I'm opening it up. Artsy Fartsy is on the April 21st. It's a Sunday, and that's at the Transac in Toronto.
Gotcha.
And then on the 27th of April, we're at the Georgetown branch of the Halton Hills Public Library for Fan Fest. Actually, that's just you. You'll be there for that.
Yeah,
that should be so much fun.
Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to that. Chuck says, by the way, the episodes without Chris are considered non-canonical.
Yeah,
I like that joke. I like that thought, except for some of our friends who we value greatly were for those episodes. So, yeah, Chris, you do add something that is irreplaceable. Let's put it that way. Just lots of love. We'll keep it like that. We're going to see Toy Rensu at Toying Around Toy Con. That'll be awesome.
Sweet.
Overall, I should have done this part first. Overall, did you like this issue? You enjoyed it?
Again, you get the dynamic, the trio, Rogue, Colossus, Nightcrawler. You get the leadership style. I dig all that. I mean, it did seem villainy of the week, but it looks like obviously there's connection to that New Mutants, right? What's happening on that storyline? So with Warlock and his pappy. So because they kind of fight, and then he kind of like, you've proved your mettle, but give me my son, or I shall destroy you.
Right.
You need a threat, and so he just shows up and they brawl for a bit. So, but then you get Kitty coming back. And Wolverine. So now the team's all back together.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. Back to this thing about Magus's name.
Oh yeah.
Jason Jose says Magus is Latin, by the way. Yeah, I mean the word magic has the same root, right? And then we get the whole idea of like Warlock is also a magic user in that meaning, and so Magus is also a magic user. Mm-hmm. It's a theme going on there. Maybe it's cool, maybe it's not. I don't know, but we're gonna go with it anyway. The best, if anyone, by the way, really likes that idea of Warlock and Magus, and you want to see or you haven't seen some amazing artwork from Arthur Adams on that character, or that techno-organic kind of character, phenomenal. His version of Warlock is and him and Bill Sienkiewicz are probably the only two that take it to that next level. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing a little bit of that as we go down the list of comics, and we eventually get there and we get to see. So that'll be very cool. Jonathan McCowan says, so glad I was able to make it, even though I missed the first half. I always dig watching. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm glad you were able to be here. And it's the positivity is really, really welcome. So thank you very much. Chuck says, that was the first issue in a while that I generally enjoyed. Yeah, there's a lot of good character stuff and some fun. So, when we get that, instead of those weird magic issues, this was definitely a better one. A lot of character development, says Barry Mitchell. A lot of character development without being blatant. I thought it was excellent. Magus. An action figure moment, because X-Men 97 airs, if you want, at 3 a.m. here. If you want to stay up that late, or maybe not, you're gonna just wait till tomorrow. I got my Jean Grey. Oh. I'm very happy to have this figure. She comes with 2 heads. You get either the kind of hair down thing,
or the ponytail.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm very happy that this time, like, the ponytail is swivels, but it also comes out like, so it's not going to break off on people, you know. It's good, and I think a lot of the fans of the show will go with this as their default. For me, I went with the other one just because, you know. But this costume makes no sense to me. Like these two colors, they're just not Jean Grey colors. So if you're going to go give her blue, then the other one should be yellow, as far as I'm concerned. So she's like in the, you know, training outfit of some kind. But if you do this, like this is yellow, and then the middle part is green, that's Jean Grey. She wears green and yellow. So anyway, but I love the figure. Pinless, really good details. I'm happy with it all around. The plastic is soft where it should be soft. It's stiffer where it should be stiff. It's great. Really good compliment to for the rest of the figures. Like good old Storm here.
Yeah.
Cyclops, or our girl Rogue.
These look great.
I see them once in a while. I don't buy them for you.
You don't have to. They look great.
There's Wolverine. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Yeah, I did not get Gambit, but that's my bias. But I got to get that Nightcrawler when I eventually come across it.
Yeah.
So, Team Ponytail. Yeah, the suit was super orange in person. Yeah, it is very orange, but it was orange on the show, so you know it's fine. I'm happy to have it. Which figures are those? These are Marvel Legends from Hasbro for the X-Men 97 line on like our old retro card looking things. They're on a card back in a blister pack. And when it comes to Cyclops, I put on a head from the they call it the Love Triangle 3-pack. I prefer this one to the one that came with it. But anyway, I'm loving these figures, so I'll continue to get them. Nightcrawler is great. Wish he had swords. I have to say, I do have the other Nightcrawler that came in the previous, like a wave from a few years back, and he has a good cutlass or saber or whatever. So I will be using that with him as well. As we can see from the footage, he's in the show. And if I got my wish, in the 10 episodes, we're going to see Colossus again. I would love to see him put on a costume and join the team, not just like wristbands and a tank top. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And being like, why are you fighting me? Like, just, but I do nothing wrong. What? I want to see him like actually intentionally participate in a battle with some seriousness. He's such a favorite character. Can you imagine if they introduced Kitty Pryde too? Like, I would be so happy. Anyway, those are my wishes for maybe season 2 or whatever. I want to see those characters come around, but yeah, we shall see. Yeah, Jonathan, take a look out for them. They are collectors are swooping in to get them a lot these days, and depending where in the world, for us, we find them at like GameStop mostly or local comic stores. But you gotta watch out for the markup there. David says, gonna gift Jason a Gambit one of these days. If by Jason you mean me, because there are 3 of us roaming around at the moment. I do have 2 Gambits. So you know, easy now. I have one that was, I think, the first Gambit they put out, again, a few years back. And then I have one that came on, I feel bad doing this. It came with this set. She has no head at the moment because I'm often trying to put on the other heads, like onto these bodies to see different things. So, you know, but that's the 3-pack. So in the training suits, I have 2 Gambits. I don't need any more. Thank you so much. Cyclops and Nightcrawler were standouts for me. I love the Cyclops. I love the Wolverine. I'm happy with almost all of them. They exceed my expectations. So the Wolverine is just it's amazing. I'll say everyone can relax. Gambit has arrived. Yeah, the Cajun accent comes. We got a long time, Jason. We have a long time to wait for some games.
It's in development.
Yeah. Yeah, they would have to intro both Pete and Kitty together just to explore that relationship. Yeah, that'd be cool. As long as they age them appropriately, it'd be no problem.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any room for Kitty Pryde on the show, given that you know what they could do? They could do it she's grown, that she was a member before Jubilee, like because we see in the trailer that they aired today, they show a photograph of the team in their original costumes. And by the way, they had that on the old show too. In X-Men 97, sorry, X-Men Animated Series, there was like a moment where they show them as like trainees in their training costumes. So you could imagine, like before Night of the Sentinels, that there is a moment in time where Kitty is on the team. So they could come across her in her 20s. Like maybe they, go get her from university or something like that.
Right.
And that would be, I mean, obviously, I'd be ecstatic.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else you want to touch upon before we call it a night?
Let's see. We plugged our stuff. I just want to say a couple of shout outs, some new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Dan Scott, Trendalar, and Faustus Kraus. Very much appreciate the subscriptions. And for those out there, please share around. And if they think anyone might enjoy this, please share the information around. We're sitting on $295. I don't know what happens at 300. Probably nothing. But let's get to 300.
At some point soon, we get to make it so that we can post community things on YouTube. So we can, just promote that the show's coming, or, polls and just other community engagement things. We wouldn't do too much anyway, but a little bit is always helpful. Totally. But every little step helps, and moving towards getting more people enjoying the show and participating. So we've got some fun episodes coming up over the next 3 weeks. I'm very much looking forward to that. And after that, there's just nonstop fun things happening. Jonathan says 9 people watching, but only 4 likes. Yeah, all 4 likes were me. So don't worry about it. I'm not too worried about that. We do the best that we can, It's all cool. Barry says it's cool to see a flashback with Kitty and Wolverine in Japan on the new shows. Yeah, that would be super cool. So
totally.
I'd be totally down for that. All right, that brings us to the end of another episode of Previously in X-Men. Thank you to my good buddy, writer of Group of 7 and Peregrine's, Chris Sanagan. You can find out more about our comics and upcoming appearances at group7comics.ca. And that, of course, that number is 7. And you can follow us, Group of 7 Comics, on social media. Please click like and subscribe and tell us your take on X-Men Comics in the comments below. Thanks, bub.
And don't forget, next week, we're going to be starting to recap the X-Men 97 episodes to kick off Previously in X-Men. So you want to talk that show, come check in, tune in, okay? And stay X.
Stay Xy, everybody.